For those viewers who are not familiar with your work,
Okay.
how would you define yourself? I think of you as a launch strategist. I also think of you as like a webinar expert. But I know family is super important to you.
Yeah,
But like
for
from a
sure.
business perspective only, like how would you classify yourself?
A launch strategist. That's
Okay.
what I would say. From a business aspect, I would say a launch strategist, where my goal is to help an entrepreneur be able to put out a product and actually get people to buy it
Yeah.
and actually get sales. And then to further along, I want to help you create predictability.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, when we're dealing with people, we can't predict, but we can have a system that helps us do that.
Yeah.
As best we can. So
Yeah.
that's how I would describe it.
Okay, cool. You've worked with some super big names.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you're very humble, but like you've helped people make millions of dollars
Yeah.
in their launches.
Yeah.
Launching like if they have like a program or an event, people have had over $1 million in revenue working with you.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Because
Amazing.
you're a few years into your entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
So in the beginning, it feels amazing. And I wouldn't just say just helping them, because I'm getting help in this situation as well. Because you're like, oh my God, like we're doing this. You chose me. I'm so grateful for this. I'm trying new things. And then, for instance, like working with him 500, like in the height of the pandemic, my man's like, yo, we're gonna do this launch. This is our second time doing it. First, we did a $1,000 product. We did 6 figures on a launch. It's exciting. And he was like, yo, what else you got? Like, well, let's do it again. He was like, all right, this time we're going to do a $5,000 product. And I'm like, bruh.
So he said that to you, and your response is disbelief, like doubt?
Disbelief, immediate. So that's why I say, as much as we may say I'm part of helping them, I'm actually being helped and learned. And some of my limiting beliefs are being killed as well. Whereas he just doesn't have any fear.
Yeah.
My man was like, they just announced that we're in a pandemic. Stuff is being shut down.
And him 500. Did he buy his plane at this point?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
He hadn't bought it. And this man was like, all right, we're going to launch and we're going to go 5K. And I'm like, bruh.
You're shaking in your boots.
Where are people
getting this money? Especially at the pandemic. Like everybody's home.
We do it. Hit. Like it goes better than the $1,000 product.
What did you learn from that experience? You talked about your self-limiting belief was changed. I think a lot of entrepreneurs who are listening, whether they're like brand new, thinking about entrepreneurship or already in it, have those self-limiting beliefs 100%. But like, what fundamentally changed for you after realizing?
I think don't make the decision for the customer.
Ooh, tell me more.
Huge. Like,
break that down for me.
Sometimes something that may seem high to us, if we make it seem expensive to us, then it's gonna make it be expensive
to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In his mind,
him 500.
Yes, him 500. In his mind, 5K is nothing.
Wow.
So when he's presenting it like it's nothing.
Was he using it like, for those of us who like didn't hear his offer, and like, I'll talk about me.
Yeah.
I struggled, and you know this, and you've harassed me about this extensively. For sure. I struggled to even ask people for their emails for a free product.
For sure, yeah.
So for people who are listening, who are thinking about like, I can't charge $100 for something, right? What did you learn from that situation that could maybe like help someone else who's listening?
Yeah. So I again, that was what I learned is like, one is don't make the decision for him, but two, like be confident in the value and the transformation that you're about to give to people. And I think 500, his level of confidence in knowing, I just put something together that I know could transform people's lives because I'm using this same system. He was able to get in front of them and be like, no, it's 5K.
Yeah.
And I sent him a screenshot after the webinar.
Did you? And
you saw 2 different perspectives. I sent him this. One person said, 5,000, that's it, I'm in. The other person right under him, like 5,000, he's nuts. We're in a pandemic. And it was just like, you know what I'm saying?
The perspectives were different.
The perspective was completely different. However, same audience, and he just had this level of confidence. So I would say, like, just as much as, I was able to be a part of launches, I was learning stuff as well and taking chances. And in the beginning, all of that stuff is phenomenal. But the key thing is when you're doing one-on-ones, there is a level of, and this is like, I don't even think I've talked about this publicly, but I've talked about you in private.
Yeah.
There's a level of resentment that builds up just a bit because you're like, shoot, I'm seeing my ideas come to fruition. I'm seeing them being implemented and people are being helped. It's phenomenal. And I'm grateful. But then you notice that they're getting the win.
Yeah.
They're getting the glory from it. And you're like behind the scenes.
And nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh shoot. Mm-hmm. And low key, it starts to dig at you a little bit. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh man, like I want to do this for myself. And so I end up pursuing it. And what was dope is going back to him 500 was he was like, man, he even showed me, and I could say because he talked about this publicly. He even showed me $1 million day.
I'm sorry, what?
$1 million day.
So wait. Break that down. You're telling me him 500.
A month. I'm sorry.
A month. Okay.
A month. $1 million month.
He uses webinars so he invites people to a free webinar.
Yeah.
In the webinar, has charisma, talks about his product, the transformation, what people are going to get out of it. Yeah. At the end, he offers them an opportunity. So he's made in a month of doing that $1 million.
He's made $1 million.
Whoa.
He's actually even had a $5 million month. But the purpose.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
And I'm talking to him about that, and he was like, yo, you're dope at what you do on a one-on-one, but it's going to be very hard for you to have $1 million month doing that.
Wait. I missed it. How?
He's like, because when you're doing one-on-one, I only have the time that's available. My time.
Oh, it doesn't scale.
It doesn't scale. I can't scale it as fast because I'm one-on-one with you, and I may be working with you for 4 months. And now I maybe had a capacity to work with 2 other people like that. So at that point, if I'm going off of, we got a percentage or commission or a set fee, whatever it is.
You're capping your income.
I've capped it at that. And so I was like, that's why
I 500 told you that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
We had this conversation. And so I'm like, that's why I feel the feeling that I feel.
Oh, the resentment.
The resentment is because
he's like, I'm winning out of the situation, but bro, you're losing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm still winning, but he was like, you're capped though.
Yeah.
Like you will get here. And so I was like, okay, I need to shift and do what I'm teaching everybody else to do and start my own community.
Well, at that point, where was your business though? He's making $1 million a month. Where's your business? And I'm not trying to be in your numbers, but
that's good.
For those who are watching or listening who don't know your story as well.
Yeah. So at that time, I don't even know. We had maybe hit 6 figures that year, maybe, and that was because of people like Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas is the one that gave us
E.T. the hip hop preacher. If you're not watching him, I don't know what you're doing.
Yes, exactly. He was the first person to give us our first big client.
Wow.
We had one other client prior to that. And then Eric Thomas, I joined one of his programs called Extreme Execution. Mm-hmm. I'm in the program and literally I'm teaching people what I know. Mm-hmm. So the other people that what I know, I'm teaching them about webinars. And then his COO reaches out to me and was like, hey, he said he wants you to try to launch this thing
through the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, let's do it.
Yes.
Cool. Bet.
Wow.
We do this with E, and E was the reason why we had finally gotten to 6 figures. Prior to that, I had made $20,000 in a year, $30,000 in a year.
So when you see these people making 7 figures in a month, if it was me, I'd be a little salty.
Yo, so, and then, we did a launch with E, and of course it's E, but we did
like millions and millions and millions of followers.
I'm seeing like it. Listen, let me say this. It was the best experience to work with these people, to see the system work on a grand scale.
Yeah, with a huge audience.
Exactly. To see like, oh shoot, he's getting 20,000 people registered.
How much did you have a feeling of, oh shit, this actually works?
Yes, I did. I was doing it. I was on the.
Because sometimes you know something and you've done it, but then it's like when you try to like 10x it, you're like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
I don't know if this is gonna work.
And then it's super successful.
Yes.
You're like, oh, my shit works.
I had several of those moments. Every single time. Every single time I launched with somebody different.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
This is how it's supposed to work.
This is so
you like wife at home, like, oh my God, I can't believe that worked.
I remember because all the one-on-ones, everybody's webinar I would get on, no matter if there was 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever, I would stay on them. And then we would get to the sale and I'm in the back office watching and I show wifey and she's like, what? We never seen numbers like this. I'm used to having 20 people on my webinar.
Yeah.
I'm selling a $100 product.
Right.
We get 2 sales. I made $200. I'm like, babe,
but him $500 is selling $5,000.
A $5,000 product, and he's getting like 300 people to buy this thing. It's like, dang. And then you get, well, with E, you have to cap it.
Oh,
you're
because
like, hey, I can only take. Yeah, they just keep going. Like you got to tell them I can only take this many people.
First 500 people to sign
yes.
up.
So I'm getting this huge amount of experience from us working with E. Then he starts. E is like, yo, this is the guy.
Oh, so he starts promoting you,
yes.
And that I'm sure changed everything.
That changes everything. This is where him 500.
How did you even get ET?
So again, I joined his program.
Okay.
Called Extreme
you were in his community.
Yes.
So like you purchased the ticket and paid your money to be a part of his community.
Yes.
And then somehow you had the opportunity to share about what you were doing. And then administrators are like, wait, you're doing what?
Yes.
We need you to run that.
I wasn't even trying to share it with them. So I went to what's called the 1% conference. I went to that in Chicago.
Okay.
I went to the VIP. They had a 2-day event and they were talking about the assessment.
Okay.
This DISC assessment where we learn about our behavior, tendencies, and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, I need that. And E was talking to us about the program. He was like,
how many people were there?
It was, at the time for the day 2, maybe I want to say 150, 200 people.
Okay, cool. So it's a good crowd.
It's a nice little amount. And he's saying, I'm starting up this new program. Mm-hmm. Immediately, it's already ingrained in my head. Is when a big influencer says new program,
you're jumping in.
I'm jumping in
because they're unsure. They're not. It's probably gonna be the lowest price it's ever gonna be.
Lowest price is ever gonna be. They're gonna give you the most access to them
because it's their first time.
It's their first time, so they want people to be successful, and they're gonna do whatever it takes to be successful. We got in the program, and our group was a text community.
Dang,
we
with
had
ET.
Yes, phone numbers. So we had E's phone number. We're all in a text chain. You know what?
As much as I'm looking I did the same thing on social media. Like I think even when I was on Clubhouse, I was trying to learn from you and David Shands and all of those other folks, you know. Yeah. And I remember there was something that I had said, then you had did something like, wait, what are you doing on social media?
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't understand the value of what I was doing because to me it was just like, oh, I just know this.
Yes.
And so that kind of reminds me of what you had said earlier about like you can't cap the value of what you're offering to other people based off of your perception, right?
Ever do that. Yeah.
Because like the money that I would pay for someone to like manage my podcast, to someone, they might be able to kick that stuff out super quick. Yes. But for me, I'd pay top dollar just so I don't have to do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because it brings you pain. So you're like, let me get up out of that thing.
It was one of the biggest lessons that I learned from you.
Absolutely.
Like, do not box yourself in. Do not make assumptions about the customer. Yes. Like ask them.
Yes.
Surveys were another thing that I learned from you.
Huge thing.
So
right?
important.
That's huge. So I joined the program.
Yes.
We're in the text community.
That's so crazy.
We're meeting with E weekly, all of that stuff. So I start my own call. I'm like, yo, on Wednesdays, I'm going to get in here. I'm going to teach y'all how to do webinars. And we all about to win. It's only like 15, 20 of us in the program.
Oh, it's really small.
It's small. That's why I'm like, this is great. I'm doing that every single week. And again, like his COO reaches out to me and was like, yo, he wants to see if you can launch the program Extreme Execution like you've been telling everybody. And I'm like, I sure can.
Did it surprise you? Like, I feel like sometimes
I was completely surprised.
When I meet people who I respect and I look up to and they're so successful and it feels like they've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it catches me off guard when there's something that they don't know.
Yeah.
That to me may be like obvious.
Yeah.
And it kind of humanizes entrepreneurs. And I've had that happen so many times to people who I never thought I'd ever speak to, making millions of dollars, asking me something simple about like, well, how does Reels work? And, you know, for me, it's very like humbling because it's like, but it's also like, it's also surprising, and it makes me almost like unsure of myself. Like, are they really asking? Like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Did that catch you off guard? Because this is freaking ET.
It's ET, yeah. But I also understand the concept of I don't have to know how to do everything, but I do need to know how to get the master.
Yes.
So I'm not saying he didn't know anything about funnels or webinars, but he's like, I'm not about to do it. You're saying you the master.
Go ahead and handle it.
Go ahead and handle it.
Awesome.
And I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity had I not invested into to his product and to his community. And from there, we do the launch, and I just see it go boom. I'm like, oh shoot. And from there, I get David Shands end up joining the community.
From Social Proof Podcast. Shout out to David.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave. So he joins the community. I reach out to Dave. I'm like, yo, Dave, I see you have your event. How are you launching that thing? And he's all like, yo, I'm going to just do it through social media.
I saw that interview that you did with him. He's like, I was just going to post it on social media.
I was just going to post it on social media. And I said, yo, you should let me launch your thing for you.
Yeah.
First question was, who have you done launches for? Eric Thomas.
What did he say? How does it feel like? How did it feel in that moment to be able to say that to your friend?
It felt amazing. Like,
did he fall out his chair?
Yes. Like, he was just like, oh, okay.
So like nobody knew you had ET at the time?
No one. And this is my first encounter with him. We weren't even friends then.
Really?
Yes. I just saw him join the community because by then we had...
So that's how you met David?
Yes. Okay. Inside of the community. I had been following him already, but we didn't know each other.
Wow.
I reached out to him and was like, yo, I see you doing this. How are you planning on launching it? And then his question was like, yo, who have you done launches for? And then when I said...
Trying to like qualify you.
Yeah.
Like, well, actually...
I'm like, well, actually... You know, Eric Thomas, you just joined this community. Yes. I actually launched this community here. And he was like, oh, okay, well, let's talk. And then we end up launching his Social Proof event.
Which was super successful.
From there, I'm doing a live with Dave. Him 500 reaches out to me.
Dang.
Because he
like
saw
a domino
the live.
effect.
It just continues to grow. Again, all of it starting from E. And I'm like, okay, this is huge. So the experiences of people, and these are all people that has 300,000 people following them or more at the time.
Yeah.
And I am able to quickly rise up. I think the best advice I can give for people is always study your craft and improve your craft. Because when they asked me to do whatever needed to be done, there was no worry or fear because it's like, I've been doing this. I know.
You had the reps and you had the practice.
I had it all in. So, but now there was some nervousness of like.
I was about to say, you over here stunning like.
I was nervous, but I knew what the steps were.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't nervous about what process needed to happen. What was the system? I had been studying that. But the fact of who's asking me, it's like, oh my God, I gotta perform now. Yeah. This has to work.
Also, you don't want to like let on that there's moments where you're unsure. So you're trying to like put on the whole facade of like, I know exactly mostly what I'm doing.
You know what I'm saying? But I think like just to expose, if I took something from each one of the people, again, Justin being another one, there's a level of confidence that you must have when it comes to your product or service. But there's also a degree of like, work ethic that you have to put into the product so it can deliver what you say it's going to deliver.
Yeah.
And that boosts the confidence that you can have when you get in front of people.
Yeah.
All of them have that.
Yeah.
They are sure of themselves, which is why out of their mouth, they can say, this is going to be an investment of 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand, and all of those things.
And they say it with their whole chest. Don't hesitate. Don't blink. And people believe them. I mean, of course they deliver too. That's the important part.
Yeah.
But, a lot of times I think entrepreneurs who are new kind of talk themselves out. Those self-limiting beliefs kick in. Exactly. It's like, the doubt kicks in of like, well, what, maybe if it doesn't work, like, I'm not misrepresenting my skills here, but what if it doesn't work? What if something goes wrong? Versus just knowing like, I know my stuff and I know if you apply what I'm telling you, then you know, you're going to get the result.
Exactly. And that right there, it boosted my confidence and it killed all my limiting beliefs. I got a chance to see on different levels how this thing could work for everything. And from then on, I was like, all right, my prices went up. Listen here. We were charging like $2,000-$3,000 initially.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And so once that, like, all of these things happen, it's like, all right.
And it's also very, you know something else that I learned from you that was really important to me? When you understand the true value of what you're selling. Like, so for example, like I charged you money, right? Yeah. And I was a little nervous. A lot of money. A lot of money. It was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It was a lot of money. And I learned from what I had seen you do with other clients that if you applied what I was teaching you, your business was going to make money. Yeah, you've made, and hopefully it's okay that I share this, you've made more than I've made at my corporate job in a year, in a month.
Yeah.
So I would have kicked myself if I charged you like $2,000 for 6 months.
You would have felt that resentment. I would have felt
that resentment.
Yeah, for sure. You know? So for me, I don't negotiate the price anymore. It's because.
Did you at one point like
Yes, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs start off negotiating the price because you just want the sale.
Yeah, you know what? I've done that too. I can't lie. I was like, 5,000. You know that reel that you posted? It's like
No, you know what? 2,500. No, it's free, you know.
Please, just buy it for free.
Just buy it, right? But the thing is, you want the sale because you're thinking like you need the money. You're making a decision based off of money. I don't let money make decisions for me anymore.
You're making a decision off of money. Break that down.
Yeah, so you're making a decision based off of, you're thinking, I need money because I have bills and all of these things to pay. But what you don't realize is you taking that money is going to be more painful in your life. It's going to cause more problems than it gives you relief. Why?
Interesting.
Because what's going to happen is if you set a value of $5,000, you set that value because you needed that to be able to pour back into your business, to live, for you to feel whole, for you to feel profit, for you to continue on, and so you can have a great relationship with your customer. If you're now talked down to $2,500 for the sale, there's going to be a level of resentment towards them. You're not going to put the same work ethic in. Let me not say you, I'm not going to put the same work ethic in because I'm going to feel like, well, shoot, you got your $2,500 worth 2 months ago. Damn. Why are we even still here right now? And then it also puts me in a position where I don't have the money I need for my bills. So now I have to take on another client or whatever. And I'm stressed, overworking myself because I didn't charge my worth. And it's not their fault.
Yeah.
Because you the one negotiated your price. So the best thing to do is say no. This is not your target audience.
So what's the biggest mistake that you see entrepreneurs make? Because you have a community and you've helped a lot of people launch into 4, 5, 6, 7 figures at this point.
Yeah.
When it comes to like having confidence in your price and in understanding the transformation, do you see that entrepreneurs are lowballing themselves out the gate mostly?
Yes.
Or do you see that they set their price at like, okay, this is $1,000, but then someone asks them, hey, I don't have 1,000. Can you do this? And then they bend where they should hold the line. Which one do you see?
I see them lowballing initially. This is something you did. When you told me a certain price.
Talk about me?
I'm just saying. Remember you told me a certain price, and I was like, "What? This is what you?" Yes, I'll hire you right now.
Yes.
And I think it was like $1,000 a month. I was like, yes. I want you right now.
Okay. Can we just break that down real quick? So let me explain. So we met on Clubhouse. I was looking for someone else to give me advice because we were in some really great rooms, for right? Sure. And I was looking for someone to give me advice on how I can grow my platform. Yeah. And someone had brought it to my attention that I was actually doing really, really well. And I didn't need help. I just needed some consistency. Right. And that kind of changed my mind. So someone had asked me a question, and I think it was the experienced entrepreneurs in the room understood the value of what organic traffic does for your business. So if you have a product that you're trying to sell, you need customers to sell it to. Yeah. I didn't understand any of that at the time. Yes. So if you have the ability as an entrepreneur to get eyeballs to your website, to your Instagram page, to your business, that usually you have to do that through ads, or you have to find another medium to do that. And usually it's at cost.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And so the fact that I had a very small following, but could get 100,000 people to view. My goodness. I know you're mad.
My goodness.
Right? I didn't understand the value of it because I wasn't trying to sell anything.
Exactly.
So I think when you came around, you were kind of sniffing around like, so how many people are you getting? And how much effort is this taking? And you're like, okay, so hypothetically, if you were to help me do this, what would you charge? And the fact that like even charging you $1,000 for 4 weeks, I think was like 1 hour a call every week. Yeah. So which with me, it was nothing. I could talk about this all day.
Yeah, for sure.
But the fact that you were like, oh, what? Done. And I was like,
yeah. And you were threatened to like, you like, yo, lock in now, or I'm gonna go up to 2,000. You know what? I was like, okay, go to 2 now.
So. And for me, I was like, I had no idea at the pain that you as an entrepreneur experienced with trying to get traffic. I didn't know how much money businesses, especially established businesses, would pay to have that pain resolved.
Yeah.
And so my pricing was totally off.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I was like, I was scared. $1,000 for me was so much money. Yeah, for sure. I had never charged anybody that much.
But do you see what I mean? Why if you make the price big for you, then you're going to make it big for your customer.
Oh my God.
And you're not going to be able to present it the right way.
And you know what? And then people try to start lowballing. Even you were like, for $1,000, I need some extras. And it wasn't until later. And I have to be honest that you were really honest about letting me know that it was low. I mean, you took that first deal for first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But you did coach me and let me know after the fact of like, hey, next time, like, I need you to do this, and this.
And then the next invoice I had you do, I think was like 10 or 5 or something. Like, don't ever send an invoice.
Don't ever send an invoice under $5,000.
Yeah, don't ever.
And I remember
now I'm telling you, don't ever send one under 25.
Yeah.
30. Because of
$30,000, that is.
30.
And here's the thing. I didn't believe you.
Yeah,
I didn't believe you. And I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly, but for context, I had kind of done very similar to what you did.
Yeah.
I found that I had a skill of connecting with people in events, like talking on camera. So we went to Van's event.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Van in Vegas. He had an event. He had let me speak there.
Yeah.
He did pay me. But when I got there, everybody in the room wanted to book me.
Yeah.
And there was a particular individual who you knew, who you could vouch for me, and you can also vouch for that person. And I won't share who it was.
For sure.
But they were like, oh, I heard you doing great things with words. Yeah. And I came to you, honestly, like, I don't know what to do. And you're like, triple the price.
For sure.
I was shaking in which would have been, and you said also cut down the time because I had practiced it with you for so many months at that point. And I had also had other clients, right?
Yeah.
And I had done a reel with him 500 at that point. I had done a reel with David Chan, and all of them had 100,000, like great numbers for free.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was you helped me craft a pitch for $45,000 for 8 weeks.
Yep.
And my brain was completely exploded because And I remember arguing with you for a long time. No one's going to pay $45,000 for just me to coach their team for 8 weeks. And you're like, you can't think about it from you. That's where I learned that lesson, really, in that moment.
Yeah.
And the fact that person said okay and agreed, crazy.
Huge.
Crazy. And I remember calling, I think I was crying, like, oh my God, I can't.
That's almost like, it was almost like half of your salary.
That was absolutely like my yearly bonus wasn't that much.
Because we have to think about, again, when the person, like, here's the biggest mistake. We don't think about what we're saving them from.
Yes.
You can either, like, the fact that you're doing reels, you can either allow me to go pay traffic and I'm spending $30,000, $40,000 a month, or $50,000 a month, or I can pay you $1,000 a month and get the same result, the same amount of people coming to me. That's huge. Or I can pay you $45,000 over an 8-month period or 8-week period, or however long your program is, and save myself from having to pay that to Facebook or whatever and get the same results. So you got to think, whenever you're doing something, like if you are a marriage coach, a divorce costs $50,000 minimum.
Yes.
Depending on where you are, you're going to pay $50,000. And if you have kids, now you got to think about the trauma and things that your kids are going to experience.
Painful, expensive
problem. Exactly. Yeah. So, but if your coaching program is $5,000, look at how small we just made the price. You can either pay the $50,000 and then have your kids suffer in school and with friendships and relationships and be torn between the two of you. Now they have dramatic. To choose and trauma and all of that stuff. Yeah. Or
pay me
you can pay me $5,000.
Yeah.
Your family is whole. You start having healthy conversations with you and your spouse. Your kids are still whole. They grow up in a household where they have both parents. Which one do you want?
Yeah. You know what?
You see what I'm saying?
It was really revolutionary. Something else that I learned was the pleasure pain points.
Yes.
Quantifying that.
Yes.
And then also understanding where you fit and understanding. So what I mean by that is you had given me an example of a person who like has a little bit of discomfort with their tooth versus like agonizing pain. Yeah. I can't eat versus like I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't do anything. The money that I'm willing to pay at those different pain levels is different.
That's different.
Even like, or even like a lawyer, I think about, right? Like if I'm trying to sue someone, but I don't have anything to lose at the moment, the money I'm willing to pay is probably low versus like, oh, this person is coming after me and they're going for, custody of my kids and my house and my business. Like, the risk is just too damn high.
There's a high level of pain.
High level of pain.
And so that's why when I create products or I'm launching, I literally have to see who do I want to launch with. I only want to take on products or programs that are targeting an audience that is in pain.
Yeah, you want to create a solution, a product or a solution. It's essentially a solution. Right? To an audience who is suffering and willing to part with their money to get the bleeding to stop.
To stop right now.
Yeah.
Right now. So, but I have to make sure whoever I'm working with actually has a product that can do that.
Yes.
So that's key. I don't want to take advantage of people. Yeah. So, because when you're in pain, you want relief now.
Oh my gosh.
So the key thing about it is when a person is in the midst of divorce or getting ready to, and they don't want to lose their marriage, they're in pain. So they're like, $5,000 to save my marriage or this, I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
All day, it's a no-brainer. You want to put yourself in no-brainer situations.
Yeah.
And when you ask me what is the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make, and this is why it was so key for what you do, the biggest mistake is you start a business, but you don't necessarily know how you're going to get customers.
Yeah.
So traffic, meaning getting people to come visit your site or page, is a huge part of business because this is how you get yourself in front of new potential customers every single day.
Yeah.
You had a great way
of
creating massive amounts of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I hit you the other day and was like, I'm so irritated with you. The fact that you can get on a reel and get 200,000 views or 600,000 views and just go ghost. And come back whenever you want to, and you have the formula. It's like, it's so annoying.
You know what? And I think you saw the value in that because you knew what you would do. Every business owner. Okay, I'll stay.
Once you are in business and you try to make money, you know you need more eyeballs on your stuff.
You know what I didn't understand? You know what I struggled with? I didn't know inherently what problem I was solving.
That's it. Yeah.
And even when the opportunity came to help businesses with reels, I found that I don't love to solve that problem.
That's good.
The money wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
The money wasn't worth it. I was drained. So even though I'm good at it, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then I think the next thing that you taught me about was, so traffic is like the magnet, like the attraction that you use to get people to come to your storefront or your website or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They don't ever have a chance to buy if they don't know about it and if they're not coming to check it out. Exactly. That's one. But then two, you have to present it to where if you get, let's pretend like we have a store. Let's say we have a pizza parlor, okay?
Okay, cool.
And it's going to be called, Words Pizza Parlor. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Right? If we're doing
So you're a silent partner then?
It's just yours.
Okay, cool.
It's vegan. It's vegan pizza.
Let's go.
All the chickpeas you can handle.
Okay, let's go. Chickpea. Let's go.
I make fun of him all the time that all he eats is damn chickpeas. Shout outs to the vegans. So let's say
they will come for you.
They will. They sure will be in my comments. I respect y'all. I don't want no beef. Okay.
Be clear.
So let's say my ad is on Instagram and I'm running commercials on the radio and they're so funny and witty that people are coming by the thousands. But when they get there, it doesn't say that it's vegan. Like the pizzas are called bacon, butter, meat lovers. And people are like, what? I thought you had vegan pizza up in here. What is this? Yeah. To me, that's messaging, right?
For sure.
And like positioning. And I didn't understand that concept until I learned it really from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That like, it's not enough to be able to get people there.
You gotta get the right people.
You have to get the right people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You have to get the right people that match what you actually are selling and what you're offering.
Exactly.
And then you have to say the right things to those right people to make sure they leave out with the pizza.
Yes.
Mind-blowing.
I give this example, like in the webinars and stuff I do. You can have floor seats to, let's do Lakers versus, the New York.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's just go with
the
Nets.
Cool.
Okay.
The Nets. Okay. The Nets. I
don't know. I don't know.
Let's say Lakers versus the Bulls or the Warriors. This is basketball, professional basketball.
Okay.
Where you have these tickets. You have floor seats to see LeBron and Steph. But when you don't have the right audience, this is what you're doing. You're going to a tennis match and you're saying, oh man, there's a bunch of people here. Yo, I got basketball tickets, floor seats, LeBron, Steph Curry, and you're looking around like,
they're like, bro, if it's Tiger, unless it's Tiger, we don't want nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
You might find one person who's like, oh, bro, I'll take him.
You might find one out of 1,000 people to say, and you're thinking, why is nobody buying from me? I got all of these people coming.
Just floor seats,
because you have a great product, but you have the wrong audience. Now, what happens if I show up 2 hours before the game, the Lakers versus Warriors game, and I say, floor seats.
You're not going to be able to get the rest of your sentence out.
You're not.
You're going to get tackled.
You're going to get tackled. And especially if they verify all of those things, because you have the right product, right audience. Mm-hmm. That's the shift. Mm-hmm. The shift is, can I have the right product, the right audience, the right messaging, and all of those things? So now it's selling is easy. Let's not make this hard.
It's not. You said on David's interview, it's you're not in a place of like convincing and promoting.
Yeah, you don't have to do that,
right? Because people are lining up to buy what you have
already,
right?
Yes,
and so you're just preparing them, like, hey, this is coming out, and people are like, you know what I mean?
That's it.
Which I thought was amazing, and I think so. So one, you helped me understand traffic.
Yeah.
Then you helped me understand the messaging and making sure I understood the audience to create the messaging. But I think further, you took that a step further with me personally by explaining the way you connect those two pieces is by really understanding what it is that you do, but also don't do.
That's key.
Man.
That's key.
Right? Because not all solutions to the same problem are created equal.
That's it.
Right? Like I think of the 3 tiers that you kind of shared with me, right? Which is like, do it yourself, do it with you, done for you. Those are all 3 very different price points.
They're very different. Yeah.
Right? Like if I'm hiring someone to come paint my house, teaching you how to do it on a YouTube video where I'm not even there versus I'm going to come and help you versus I'm going to do it and let you know. Like those are 3 very different price points.
Very different. Yeah.
Right? And you have to know within yourself, like, what problem are you solving? How do you want to go about solving it consistently? And is it something that you want to be able to scale so you can solve lots of people's problems very, very quickly with minimal effort? Exactly. When I got those 3 pieces, I was like,
it's huge.
Oh my God.
It's huge.
It's game changing.
It's a huge game changer.
Yeah.
And when you understand those 3 levels, you also understand that there may be 3 types of people.
Yes.
So there's 3 different languages that you're speaking
you have to speak
to attract those people.
Yes.
Understanding, like marketing is simply understanding a language. I would not try to get Spanish speakers to convert them using English.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to other English speakers or I'm going to try to learn Spanish so I can communicate better with them. So every single person has a language. I'll give you an example. I was trying to launch this product. It's called the 9-to-5 Escape Plan. This is after I quit my job and everything. And I'm like, I can help other people do this. I had a formula for how I quit my job.
Okay.
So I'm putting out emails like, yo, you hate your job. You're probably hiding in the bathrooms trying to get extra break time. You're showing up on time, but still walking into work late. I'm using all the language of a person that hates their job. I get an email that says,
it's relatable AF.
Yes.
Like, what? He talking about me?
He talking about me.
I was in the bathroom today.
Yes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I got a couple emails that's like, yo, Words, I'm not quitting my job. And I was like, wait, what? You like your job? And the young lady wrote me back, I love my job. I just, I watch you for a little. Yeah. So I said, do you mind if I do an interview with you? She's like, yeah, let's do it. Because I was like, oh, shoot, there's a whole nother
type of customer who has a different problem I can solve with the same skills and product that I have.
And that's when I learned it. That's when the aha moment came. She got on there and was like, I love my job. I've just been stuck at this one level. So now look, the language for her changed. It's like, yo, okay, I know you love your job and all those things. I also know this. You can look around that entire place and you can see improvements that need to be made. But somehow you keep getting overlooked for the promotion. You could probably do your job better than the supervisor. So here's what we need to do. We need to put you in position where you get the next promotion. You get the next raise. And you start making decisions around that. That's completely different from, I know you're ready to leave. I know you have a job, but you're also ready to leave.
And there's also a third one of like, you want to keep your job, you wanted the security, but you also want money to go get Beyonce tickets.
Exactly.
Let me show you how to do your side hustle. Those are three different communication styles.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you understand that and you're not trying to reach everybody, you can start speaking directly to a certain person. Now you can start attracting people.
Yeah.
And then you can create this predictability.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that's huge.
But I want to go back to one more thing that you said, right?
Okay.
A lot of people who are listening may not know your story. Like they hear, man, your clients are making multiple 7 figures. You're making multiple 6 figures, right? And they may be in a place where they're just trying to figure out their business. But a lot of people don't see where you started.
Right.
Right? Can you talk to us about like what led up to you quitting your job and how did that feel? Because you pride yourself on being a family man.
Yeah.
And you have some super cute kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Who are very much attached to their dad.
Yeah.
So like talk us through what led you to jump to where you could be at this point now.
Yeah. I think I was pushed a little bit.
Okay.
I always wanted to make the jump. I got stuck in this idea of constantly doing stuff for other people.
Even at your job?
Yeah. So like the job I had was I was working as a coach, right? A counselor. It's called Be His Services. My degree is in sociology. And I was so great at it that the owners were like, look, can you open this office down here for us? We'll give you a percentage. I'm like, cool. I'm implementing all my own ideas, everything. I open the office up and I tell my wife like, yo, I remember saying this then. This is like 2013. I'm like, babe, I'm stuck inside of somebody else's dream.
Oh, man.
And I'm helping them and I'm seeing my ideas come to life. And then what ended up happening is I was like 20 credits away from actually graduating. At the time, you didn't need a degree to do this job. The state put out a mandate that says you now need a degree. And I'm thinking I'm going to be grandfathered in. Immediately, our 6-figure salary gone because I got fired. And I was like, oh, shoot.
But you created this whole program that they're eating off of and they kicked you out because of a regulation. I didn't get the percentage anymore. Everything. So now it's all theirs. And I was just like, oh shoot. So I went back to school, but at that time it was so bad. We lost cars. Your family.
We had our daughter was just 5 months at the time.
Oh, okay.
So we lost that. We were going to food pantries. We were going to checking the cash.
Wait, so you went from 6-figure income to now a food pantry?
I was going to food pantries.
How fast did that transition happen?
It took like about 6 months because we, after they fired us or whatever, the money that we had, like we're
burning through it.
Burning through that. And I'm letting stuff go to relinquish however much. I think we could have salvaged a lot of things if I would have just let the house go sooner. But there was a sense of pride in like, oh, I'm 20 something, 23, 24 years old. We have a house. What will people think? And all that. So I'm having us go down to try to save things. I think a lot of people fall into this as well.
Holding on for too long.
You're holding on to things that are literally because you want the status of it, or it makes you feel like you've accomplished something when really you haven't.
Yeah.
All the stuff you lose at this point, you can get that back. It stings.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at the time. So I went to the food pantry once. But my wife, she was the one that went, multiple times.
Was that like you went one and done? You're like, I'm never doing that again.
Oh, I can't do this. Like the pride, the ego of it. And hers was just different. She was just like...
moms have that thing of like, we gonna eat no matter what.
No matter what.
Because your baby's 5 months at this point?
Yeah.
She's little.
Yeah. So she was like, I don't care. Like, you need to get over whatever you got going on. But we need food. We on food stamps, all of those things. So I did go back to school. And then I was able to get a job with a different company. And the same thing. I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm building their thing up. So I was like, babe, I gotta do something different.
When you tell a wifey this, right? Like, because a lot of us Black women, we got questions. Wait, you gonna quit your job to do what? What's the plan?
Yeah.
Did you know what your product was gonna be, what your business model, or did you just
not
jump?
Yet? So here's the thing. That first one, when I said I have to do something different, I tried for like 2-3 months, failed miserably.
What did you try? What was the business model?
All right.
You got it?
I did network marketing. That was the first thing I tried.
You did a pyramid scheme?
Yeah. So, and it's not, they're not, listen, as an entrepreneur, I guarantee you.
What was you selling? Cutco
watch
knives?
the viewers on this, watch them comment below. I guarantee you, if you're an entrepreneur, you've done one of the 4 gateway drugs. Either you've Cutco.
I have the knives, but I didn't do it.
See? You had the knives.
My cousin was selling and I wanted to support her, so I bought them.
You've done vacuum cleaners.
Nope.
You've done network marketing, or you've worked at a call center. You've done one of those 4.
I have worked at a call center.
Okay, see? You've done one of the gateways. Okay?
Those are the gateway drugs?
Those are the gateways to entrepreneurship.
Why are those the gateways? I've never heard that reference.
Because those are like such independent things where everything is based off of, your money is based off of what you do. Your money is based off of your effort. It's
so
not
if you're
guaranteed.
Successful, you're like, damn, I could do this by myself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I'm doing the network marketing. That didn't work out. I took a corporate job.
You went, okay, so you tried a few months, it didn't work.
Principal Financial.
Okay.
I worked there for 6 months. I remember my first review. At that time, I was just like, whatever it takes for me to make sure my family is whole.
Yeah.
My first review, my supervisor was like, your first month here, how do you like it? And I was like, I said, I hate it.
I want to go home.
I was crying, tears in my eyes.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
In this man's office?
It was a female.
Female's office.
I'm crying like, I hate it. But this is how I'm taking care of my family.
Wow.
My wife, I go home, I said, babe, people go here to die. I don't want to be here. A friend of mine was like, and this is how I got caught up again in this. A friend of mine, this was 2015, said, because I did a lot of spoken word poetry. They said, we're starting a new program. We want you to partner with us in helping us build it. We have one school that's interested in piloting. I said, I can't do it. No.
Because you've already helped other people build their businesses and you had nothing to show for it at the end of it.
Yes, I'm hurting right now.
The pain has gotten intolerable.
It's there.
Wow.
I was about to live out my days at Principal Financial. Tortured, right? And he was like, you don't belong there. Like, dude, he's begging me to do this.
To help him.
And I talked to wifey. She's like, babe, do it. I'm like, I can't. And so finally, they're like, yo, we negotiated a $30K contract split over the 12 months. And I'm like, this is just $30K. What am I supposed to do with
this? I have kids. I have a mortgage.
Yes. And so I took it.
But you kept your job.
No.
You let your job go for $30K for a year?
I jumped all in. I needed to because my job was from 7 a.m. to 3:30. The program started at 2.
Oh, hell.
And so, and I'm sorry, the $30K was not guaranteed. He said, we'll try, but we got to make sure we do well at this school first.
After 12 months?
So, yes.
You left your financial
I was there for 6
gig
months. Yeah.
To do a $30K a year job.
I jumped.
What made you do that?
Because, like, I was in pain. When you're in pain, you.
What were you escaping from? That you hated your job that much?
My reviews were, hey, you know what some y'all do in corporate? You corporate people.
I'm gonna say, were you looking at me?
All right, you. But you corporate people, don't come for me. They do stuff like, hey, per our last conversation, and then they tag your supervisor. Per our last conversation, I hate stuff, little stuff like,
the paper cuts.
You are this close to me. Okay,
but
come over to my desk and tell me what you need to tell me. Stuff like that irritated me.
Okay.
Also, they were always talking about you need to sit down in your seat. I'm an extrovert. I need to stand. I need to be around people.
It just wasn't for you.
It was not for me.
It was killing you slowly.
Yes. It was just. So I jump.
Okay.
We do the school.
Okay.
And the school loved us. And this was in like January.
Okay.
After that, we go all the way from January to May. School year ends. I don't hear anything for the whole. They were paying me at that time $20 an hour to do that. I don't hear anything after May. And I said, oh my God, I just did it again. When I tell you.
Wow.
When I tell you.
I really don't want to hear from you. When you criticize me, listen, I don't want to hear
when I tell you, I was scared to death. And finally, that August, they hit us and said, the school loved it. We're going to guarantee the $30K. Also, we have 11 schools that want you. And I was like, oh, shoot.
Like 10X what we were going to be doing. And
so they're telling me, run it how you want to, implement your program. By the time we left there, we had 30 elementary, K through 5 schools. We had
so you're like teaching them like the program.
I'm teaching them the program. I'm implementing ideas. I'm doing all of these
things.
Did
you like it while you're doing it?
I loved it.
You did.
I loved it.
Did it give you like work-life balance too?
Yes. It was like they just let me move how I wanted to.
Yeah.
2018, the feeling hits again. After I look around and we had an event that was sold out. When I say sold out, I mean we rented a college coliseum or just a big room,
auditoriums,
auditorium in a university. Sold out completely. And I was just like, this is not mine though. I remember crying at a happy moment. I was well a part of this. I remember coming home and crying and saying, babe, it's still not mine. I once again got caught helping somebody else.
Damn.
And it was cool building up. But this is validation that my ideas and stuff worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I left that following year. I told him this is my last year.
And then you went on to build.
And then I finally jumped. And during that time, I launched a $97 product. I got 30 people to buy.
Wow.
Made $3,000 from a webinar. And
how did you even get into the webinars?
So I joined this program that my guy James Wedmore was doing. And there was a young lady. Yeah.
Okay.
I invested into it. There was a girl in there, Kimmer Luna. She said, y'all, I just made $62,000 in a day.
Excuse me?
I said, I need to know how. And she's like, I'm doing a webinar tonight to show y'all how, all of this stuff. I get on the webinar. I don't know what a webinar is at the time, but I get on there and I'm like,
I could do this.
Oh, shoot.
Because it's basically what you've already done, just a different platform.
Yeah. So I'm like, I could do this.
Wow.
I can do this. And so I joined her program. Her program was like $3,000 at the time. I don't have $3,000. I sold our furniture.
What?
Listen.
What?
I tell my wife, I'm joking. I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, how am I going to get this money? You know that meme? Like, I got to figure out how I'm going to get this money
by tomorrow. What? I got to, I got to
sell your car. Sell your mama's car. You know what I'm saying? I look and I look around and I'm like, I got assets all around me. I send wifey a text like, yo, babe, I need to sell our furniture. She said,
you have a real one. Because if Fred would try to come home and say he's selling our damn car, I would have told him go to hell.
Look, in this little beautiful room right here, you know, these cameras, all this stuff. She said, sure, go ahead. LOL. After a week, came home and the only thing that was in our living room
sold it?
Was our treadmill. Not only did I sell the couch and stuff, but I sold the kitchen table, chairs, everything I cut off our cable and I got the $3,000 to pay her.
Did that create any drama at home?
None whatsoever.
Because you have Melody's
like
awesome.
She believed in my abilities and she wanted to see me finally go in on me.
That's so important. You know
what I'm saying? And I did it. I bought the program. that's when I did my first product at $97. I made $3,000.
Was that like the proof?
That was the proof
that you needed, and then it was up from there.
Yes, that was fall 2018. I made the $3,000. I did another webinar that December, and then I did another one in January.
And that was it.
That was it. I told wifey February, hey, you can leave your job too.
Dang.
I need us to go all in on this. Because now that I have the system, speed doesn't matter until you actually know the direction.
Yes.
So
say that again.
Speed doesn't matter until you actually know the direction.
Okay.
So once I understood what was the system, what was the direction, now it's time for
clarity.
Speed.
At that point, you know what your product is, you know who your audience is.
I know
You're dangerous at this point.
Yeah, I'm dangerous. So I'm like, if I can get that 40 hours that you've been giving it to
invested
them,
over here,
and you invested into our business, we're gonna grow like crazy. And that's what ended up happening that year. That was the same year with ET and all of those things.
Wow, damn, that was a wait.
Fast.
So the first webinar that you did to ET, what's the time difference between that?
A year. I did my first webinar September 2018. We did his fall 2019.
Oh my God.
Very quickly.
And then within a few months, and then you're doing him 500.
I'm doing
David
Shan's, him 500,
wow.
And then bop. You just see everybody else come out.
What is your walk me through your mindset and like that year to 2 year span where it feels like every 2 months, like a new threshold that you never thought, because it doesn't sound like when you were at your financial job that you envisioned all of this stuff happening in the way that it did, right?
Yeah.
So like walk me through like the emotional process, like cognitively, how are you thinking through this as it's like unfolding every 2 months? It's like another level.
Yeah. I don't know if I was still in so much pain that I didn't even like realize that this was happening. You know, we were excited about it. We could see what was going on, but that we were in such a deficit. You know what I'm saying? You're in such a deficit that you don't really.
Why a deficit? What was it? Was it just like you guys weren't charging enough at that point?
We weren't charging enough.
Okay.
I thought we were charging $1,500, $3,000 and all that stuff. So we still barely.
Even to the point, even when you're charging David and them, it's still.
Well, I did David's for free.
Oh my God. Okay, I literally don't want to ever hear you criticize me about pricing again, because I feel like every entrepreneur has to go through that stage.
I think you should. However, like there's some opportunities that price shouldn't even be a part of it.
Like what? Give me
I saw that David was on a crazy rise.
Mm-hmm.
And he was consistent with his content.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this event. I'm like, shoot, like let's not put a barrier here by talking about money. Let me just do this on the strength. And then when we look at a year or 2 years after that, look at what happened. Like
for you or for him?
For both. Okay. You know, but
so you're saying you have to have like the discernment to be able to weigh when price should be a thing and when it shouldn't.
Yes, you should know when something is good ground. I feel like David was good ground.
You did say that to me. You said you have to know when good ground when you see it.
Exactly.
To know when to plan and when to pull.
That's
and I was like, wow, that's really powerful.
That's huge, right? And you can only have that type of discernment when you have the connection with God.
100%.
That never came up, and then his podcast blows up.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, yo, Dave, can I get on a podcast? His response was, you tell me when, we'll make it happen.
Yes.
That's like, I didn't know his podcast. I didn't even know he had a podcast then, but I knew this was good ground to plan on. Some others like, okay, I may charge. Now, after that, I charged because I got E under my belt.
Yeah.
I got Dave Shands under my belt. I'm like, okay, we can do this thing, so we need to start charging.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, we don't know. I don't know how to run a business. I'm stressed. I don't know. Then you got taxes, all of these things.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh my God.
One of these days, I need to do a whole episode on taxes because, geez, Louis. Oh my God. Taxes is such a pain.
It is.
And I got into a bit of trouble myself.
Oh, yeah. we could talk about that whole thing.
Oh my God. Have you ever had tax trouble?
Not
being compliant. Like I'm not audited. Facing jail time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they were like, yo, we need
Where's the receipts?
We need to see all of that.
I'm like, what day was that?
My man was like, okay, I see your mileage on here. Can you talk to me about some of the trips that you? And I'm like, Well, what does it say there? Well, this.
What's your paper say?
Well, just talk to me about some of the trips you've been on. I'm like, okay, well, we've driven here and here. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, it is definitely. Yeah.
I was mixing all my personal money and my business money.
Yeah.
And it was a freaking, it was painful.
Yeah. But now we have.
Once I got the system, QuickBooks, shout out to QuickBooks. Well, now we have an in-house accountant. Okay.
We have a CFO, a CPA, and
Why
DBA,
me up like I need your form.
NNA, whatever you call them. Like we have all of those things now. So yeah, no, but I think having them under my belt definitely helped me to pursue it. So to go back to your question was, we were starting to feel spurts of it. I think I really felt it the first time I got a check from like we had with E. He was like, "Yo, we could talk now. Yeah. Now that I've seen proof what you concept, could actually do." Mm-hmm. And then when he was like, "Yeah, let's renew," I was like, "Man, E, I would love to renew. But can we talk about this?" He was open. He's like,
because you had proven yourself at that point.
Yeah, he was like, let's make money together.
Yeah.
And when we got that first check,
look at your eyes are sparkling.
I was like, yo, I'm like, babe. Like, we did it. Yeah. Like, when I say the first check was a salary, you know, it's like a full year salary where you're just like, my goodness.
Did Melody have to like ground you? Because I know that when I had my first big contract, I definitely went to Fred and said, I'm quitting my job. And Fred was like, whoa, hold on. He's like, I support you quitting, but like, let's think about this. That job.
No, I'm not I'm not the spender. I'm not like me. I will more so harbor money, you know.
But did she have to like ground you at that point, or were you just, did it like, because for me, excitement just kind of took over?
No, excitement takes over, but I'm not ground me in the fact of like, okay, babe, now relax. Okay, because once I see something working,
you 100 miles an hour.
I'm going all in now. Me, I'll put that whole thing,
pour gas on it,
back into the and so she has to be like, well, hey, remember our family that has been neglecting themselves over
the balance.
Yeah, so like remember that we need to do something as well. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was only for the whole because you ready to sell some furniture again and run it. Come on now. I talked to her about that year. The first thing I asked was like in 2019, top of the year. Yeah. I was like, we gotta quit our jobs. You're gonna quit your job, but here's what I need. I don't want to celebrate any birthdays or holidays. I tried to do Christmas. She wouldn't let that happen. But I was like, we need all funds on deck. And I need us to not be in this survival mode as though, because you know how like you can not have money all year and then suddenly for your birthday,
you scrape up some money.
You have money scraped up. It's like, yo, I don't want to live like that anymore. Let's get off that train. And she was with it. So, you know, I even was only paying ourselves like, at that time we had our second child. So it was 4 of us. And I was paying us like $4,000 a month. And we were like, she's sacrificing, making stuff happen off of that. So finally, when we get that check,
she's like, wait a minute.
In my head, I'm like, hey, we could still let's still stay here. And she's like, hey, bro.
We've paid our dues to like,
hey, come on now. We got
loosen the grip a little bit.
Let's open up a little bit. So I went to like from 4 to maybe 7, you know, $7,000 a month that we're paying ourselves. And then we just kept going from there, because I didn't want to be one of those people that it was short lived. Yeah. Where you get this high
and then it's gone.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That sucks.
And it also, it could also, let me speak for myself. It's also happened that I made a crap ton of money. Yeah. And then.
Because I was a part of giving you that.
Some of it. Hold on now. But also sometimes business expenses you can spend a lot of money on business, like not even like trips and stuff like that. And that money be gone too. And you're like, so I also had to learn the hard way of like being very careful with what I make investments in.
That's huge.
Some things, you know, a $5,000 mastermind, you might get 3 contracts in that room that triple that money. Yeah. Right. Which I've had happen, which is amazing. Yeah. But at the same time, it's good ground to plant in. Yeah. But it does take that discernment and it does take intentionality. But I've also had where I've invested in things that were great, but not what I needed. And they were not money generating, revenue generating at the time.
And we invest too far ahead in the future.
Ahead.
Yeah.
So you know how long I've had these cameras?
And look, remember, let's talk about it. You were about to invest a substantial amount into a program.
I sure was.
This is why the circle comes into play in a level of vulnerability. And I'm like, yo, sis, don't do that.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why I told you specifically not to do that. Because you're a solution-oriented person.
Yes.
You probably YouTubed or read or whatever how to set all of this.
Set up. Yeah.
You have that ability.
I was literally about to pay like over 10 grand for somebody to teach me how to do this. But you know what I really appreciate? I appreciate that in our friendship that you were honest with me. You're like, bro, like you can figure out how to do this by yourself. I've seen you figure it out. And you saw kind of in me what I didn't see in myself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it gave me enough confidence to like, now we do have a studio. Now I do have a podcast. That was like a year ago. And I think sometimes people see that you've accomplished something or you've put something together and they think it's quick, which is why doing like the behind the scenes, like documentary thing for the podcast was really important because it took a long time for me to get here.
For sure.
Right? Like even to have you, you're in my house doing the studio, you're in Texas, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen overnight, but you have to be wise with how you're building to be able to sustain that.
Absolutely. And I think you are a great steward over the things you have and your ideas. And that's why, I talk about sometimes the ideas may take a little longer because you want to steward them so well.
You told me something the other day and I wanted to punch you through the phone, but I was very grateful. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
You said the ideas and the creativity that you have are meant to inspire you, not torture you.
Exactly.
And I said,
that's good.
I really wanted to hit you.
Yeah. Torment.
Torment is what you said. Thank you.
Yeah.
And, for me, literally, I'll have a great idea.
Yeah.
And then it'll be panic right after that because I'm like, I have to do it perfectly. I have to. I have to.
You want to implement it right now.
The first time, immediately, at the same level that it takes people 10 years.
Yep.
And that's part of like, what we talked about before, like that I want to protect myself from criticism.
Yeah.
Slowly, I've been able to work on delivering wherever I'm at, being comfortable, and then having faith. This is where God comes in, that I will get to where I'm supposed to when I'm supposed to get there. And I just have to do my part. I have to be obedient and faithful. And that's so much harder to do than it is to say. At least for me.
It is. No, it is. It is. Because this is why.
Are you sure?
This is why the Bible talk about, lean not to your own understanding.
Okay.
It's like, because I may see it and I'm like, or God give me a vision. And I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to do that now. It's like, no, I'm just showing you. This is to inspire you where I'm gonna take you.
Yeah.
We don't have to necessarily ask for more.
Yeah.
More is already going to be on our path.
Ooh, talk about it.
What we must learn to do is steward now, and we will evolve to more.
Yeah.
The ideas, the picture, where do you think these desires come from? Like, this is not just your own
thoughts.
This is what God has for you.
Can we talk about that? So in Islam, right, there's the belief of 100%, like trusting in God, right? And I think something that I had to, work on within myself is relinquishing control.
For sure.
And you can't do that if you really think that you're the one powering
That's it.
Oh, that broke me down different kind of ways.
You become a slave to your own execution.
Yeah.
You
thinking that you're the one driving the boat. You're the one leading the ship. And it's like, at some point I had to really humble myself that, the talent that I have, right? Yeah. The ideas that I have, like, it's a gift.
Yes.
And there's responsibility and humility.
Yes.
And the same way I didn't construct myself with this creativity, there was nothing I did to earn this.
Yes.
I have to have faith that, God is going to utilize these if I surrender.
That's it.
And submit.
That's it.
And not only does it open you up to more blessings, in my opinion, in my experience, right? But also it takes so much pressure off of you when you realize it's not my job to orchestrate every step of my life. I just have to be a really great servant. We call it ibad. Yeah. In the moment that I'm at now.
Yes.
What? Game changer.
Because like today, more would actually break you.
Listen, someone told me in my corporate job, if you would have gotten all of the promotions you ever thought you wanted when you got it, you probably would have been fired.
You would have.
And I was really offended the first time I heard that. But once I got to that level, I said, oh, baby, I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I would have gotten fired for real. Yeah. I wasn't ready.
Yeah, you wasn't ready. You praying for more and all those things. If we learn to steward current situation, that stewardship is going to evolve into more,
and gratitude.
Yes.
And being grateful for where you're at and being happy with where you're at. You know what I mean? Like
that is the formula for attracting more, because every time you get to a new level, you can now handle more. You can sustain more. The worst thing is I read in this book, the Big Leap. It's called.
I love the Big Leap.
Like this upper limit.
Upper limit. Yes. Y'all, if you haven't read that book, read that.
Dope book. And just the level of when your success comes faster than your level of maturity. Mm-hmm. So you got all of this success, but you start to sabotage yourself because you don't know how to sustain it. And we see people do it all the time where you're like, dang, you made $250 million. Like, how do you lose all of that? Because the success came faster than your level of maturity for it. You got more and it broke you.
Someone told me that a prayer an entrepreneur actually, that they pray a lot for God to give me the tools now for whatever you're planning for me next.
Exactly. What? Come on. That's good prayer right there.
Right?
Shout out to that person.
Right?
Shout out to you.
And I was like, that is so powerful because blessings can turn to burdens real quick.
Real quick. And that was a point where I thought my business was a burden. Like we were making money, but I was in pain. And it's because I hired people and, some people were dope people and all those things. But I hired people not out of need originally, but because I wanted to feel like a boss. Like, God, give me a team.
That'll get you.
I want a team. And then it's like, it starts to hurt,
It's a responsibility for sure. It looks cool.
It looks cool. It sounds
heavy.
good.
Yeah.
But it's like, when you start learning that, oh my God, that's why you annoyed me so much. It was like, you were like, okay, so what's the procedure for this? Like,
wait, what do you mean? What do you mean?
So when the standard operating procedure.
Oh,
so it's like when a new person come in, what happens? They pay. I don't, or
you were just winging it.
What? Yeah, like what do they have? Because I'm like, I'm not, I don't know, whatever. But to have you come in and you're like, all right, bro, we need a formula for this. We need a step for this. We need this right now. If you're going to hire a person, you should know why. What are they going to be responsible for?
You had a lot of people on your team, I will say, who I think you guys had great relationships.
Yeah, that's it.
But in terms of like what they were doing for you, there were some gaps.
Yeah. Because I didn't fully know. I'm like, I'm hiring people with the expectation, and this is no fault to them. I take full responsibility with the expectation that you're going to come in, find the gap, and then you're going to fix it. Mm-hmm. But this is what you did. Like that, You know what I'm saying?
And there's a certain type of people. There's a certain type of person. There's a certain type of entrepreneur who will come in, but not everybody has that.
Yeah. Because I thought you were coming for one thing, and you were like, bruh, hold on. We got to look at this. We got to look at this. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And then it's like, let's start here. And then we start breaking this thing down. And you find that there's so many gaps in this one thing. It's just crazy. But that's what I was thinking. That's what I think I'm getting every time you bring on a person that's going to move like that, where this is not about money. Okay, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to get paid. But this is about my name.
Yeah.
And I want, when you think of me, you only speak great thoughts of me. You don't have an ill
integrity.
You see what
character.
I'm saying? I want. So I would say that for entrepreneurs as well. When you have your first person, like you're making sure they have a level of integrity. But
like when you're hiring people, make sure integrity is on the requirements list.
You should know your characteristics first of your business and what you expect, right? But then making sure that person meets those expectations as well. They feel the same, because I want people to treat it like their name is important.
Yeah.
I don't want them to treat it like this is a job for me to make money. I want them to treat it like, no, this is an experience that I'm about to give, and experience is going to make my business better.
They have to be invested.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think Like, you know, with you, that's why when you call, I pick up and all that, because the experience, the taste. When I say your name, I don't feel any ill feelings, you know, except when I think about how much I pay you. I'm like, God, dog.
It's so funny. One of my clients met Fred last year, and he's like, you know, she's expensive.
Yeah,
and
for
Fred
sure.
said, I know. I was like, damn, that's all y'all talk about?
Shout out to Fred. But here's the thing. It made it worth it with people had always complimented, like, oh, you're a great coach and all of those things.
Like your community to you?
Yeah. I relied on like us just going ahead and talking, you know, to like you getting in front of me for me to really deliver the information. However, when we had our event this past December, there was a circle of people around. Mm-hmm. And one of them is like, she is detailed oriented to the T. Mm-hmm. And it was such a great experience to hear her say, words, I'm telling you now, the way the program is set up now, the detail, the video, the formula, the worksheets. We did our
thing in your course, man. I love the way we laid it out. We did a really great job.
Those doggone worksheets that you had me doing, like for that to be the thing that they're talking about was phenomenal, right? So they were like, yeah, and did you see? And do you see there's a formula? I'm like, okay.
I think the biggest thing was like, you are so brilliant at what you do. And I found that it's not just entrepreneurs struggle to see it within themselves, which is why I also like to have people who can kind of mirror back. Yeah. But I think things that like your natural talent and ability, it's really hard to explain that to someone and to extract it in a formula like 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah. I think of like Dave Ramsey's and his baby steps. Like he may just have been, I don't remember exactly what his story was, but at some point he figured out a formula that can be, replicated and duplicated over and over, and a system that works.
For sure.
And if you have success in your business, what I try to get entrepreneurs, any of my clients that I work with, is to like, I try to extract that, because once they have it, you can turn it into a course. You can turn it into a video presentation. You can monetize it in so many ways, but you've got to get it out of your head.
That's it.
And I appreciate that you trusted me, because like you're good ground and planning, but that first layer was a little tough. You know what I'm saying? You were arguing with me for a little bit, but I'm really, really proud of what you built.
But the dope part about it is like we were able to unravel that gift in you. So that goes like full circle. I had
no idea I could do courses, and now that's a service I offer, which is crazy.
Yeah, so and not even limited to courses. Like you have the ability to come and audit somebody's entire business and know the gaps and fill that. So I don't even want to limit that to courses.
Thank you. I appreciate
you know what I'm saying? We were even able to like, yo, you need a team. You got on with my assistant and
I
was
sure
like,
did.
You see what I'm saying?
I said, wait, we need to get this calendar together.
You see what I'm saying? So the ability to like prepare the person for scale, that's key. So just like full circle, just like I was saying, hey, just as much as I'm helping people when I'm launching them, I was also getting helped as well.
Yeah.
So just as much as you were helping me, I think you were unraveling some 100%. Gifts. And I was saying like, oh shoot, I can't believe we limited you to content.
Yeah. I didn't know I could, and even content at first, I didn't even know I could do content.
Right.
And so another message I would give to entrepreneurs or people who are listening is like, if you're not putting yourselves in uncomfortable situations or opportunities for you to grow, you may not even develop your most lucrative talent. If you're not, I had no idea I could build courses, right? Yes. And when you told me how much you was making every month, I felt some of the, I said, damn, I don't have a course. I'm over here making yours. And I've gotten a few clients specifically just for courses since then.
Yeah.
And it's been phenomenal. I thank you for seeing that in me.
Wait till they fully let you just.
They haven't launched yet. Everybody's wrapping up. I have 2 clients right now. They're wrapping up. They've just got. They did. You remember the spreadsheet we did? Mapping out everything in there.
The annoying spreadsheet.
But then they hold on to it for dear.
Yeah. But I'm saying wait till if they ever get to a point where they fully let you just take a peek behind the curtain fully. I don't know if they have. Then they're really going to get something.
You know
special.
What? It's evolved into like almost borderline business coaching. Whereas if I could be very honest, very uncomfortable because it's like, I still don't feel like I have a solid business because as much as I've helped other people launch, I have never launched a product or but I've never.
The dope part about it is
crazy.
You've tested your system on everybody else.
Wow.
And you've seen it. You've seen it work. So you know your system works. Like you've been a part of how many launches and done how much money and created these courses. Like it's incredible. And so like, yes. So I'm telling you, once they allow you to just peel back, it's going to be crazy. And here's the thing we also have to understand. I don't care what level you're on. Everybody's still trying to figure it out.
You know what? I have a whole episode coming up when we go to Atlanta. I was really shocked. We went to Pinky Cole's American Sesh, and there were some people who, oh my God, like big. I never thought I'd meet them in person, and everybody has doubts. Yeah. Like there's people who manage like $1 billion, multi-$100 million networks who are like, well, I want to do this, and I don't know if my podcast. I'm like. Yeah. Aren't you on TV every day? Don't you have like 1 million followers? And you're asking me like, if your podcast is a good idea. So you're 100% right. It like the imposter syndrome never goes away.
We're still trying. I saw this interview with Kevin Hart, and this is when Kevin Hart is Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
And he was like, you always feel like I'm gonna lose it. I still have this feeling. Like they were like, what keeps you going? I just feel like any moment now.
Really?
Any moment now, I'm about to lose it all. And it's like, we all suffer from this feeling. And it just takes a second to evolve. You got to constantly remind yourself, like, no, you're here for a reason. And I think it's a form of trauma. You're so used to
poverty mindset.
Yeah, you're so used to not having things being taken away or losing things and all that. We have to constantly guard this. And I was just talking to my wife the other day. I'm like, man, I think the most stressful part of where we are now is having to constantly guard that switch. That switch of
I was like, wait, what are we
Oh, you think I'm but like this switch of like make sure it stays off. This switch of this fear that we're about to
crippling fear.
Yes, like, oh my God, we're gonna go back to the basement. Oh my God, we're gonna go back on food stamps. And it's like we have to break the switch or something. And it's like
you have to overcome the fear. You know, and that still goes back to God.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's hard.
And understanding that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind.
Okay.
It's like those are huge things. Power, love, and a sound mind. Not understanding that fear is a spirit. It's like, oh, so you mean to tell me that I don't have to allow this to run my life? And it's like, but we have to guard this every single day. Yeah. Every single day,
100%.
We have to guard it because I learned that, you know, when we started getting that check more consistently, it was like now we have to guard this idea of, well, are we doing things because we felt like we couldn't do it before? The trauma response of like, oh, we were never able. Now we have to do it.
So, like vacations and extravagant spending and stuff like that.
But if you move like this is my life, and you don't move like
you don't have to overcompensate.
You don't have to overcompensate because you don't feel like you're gonna lose it because you know you're just evolving.
Yeah.
What happens is the feeling is we're just here for a moment, so I'm gonna spend as much as I can at this time. All right, kind of like a buffet. It's like this is why we overeat at a buffet. It's like this is only for a moment. Let me eat as fast as I can. Let me take all that I can because I won't be back again.
Yeah.
So now we've learned that
the what is it, scarcity mindset?
Yes. Now we're like, no, babe.
It'll be there.
This is here. We here.
And know? I think even in the perfectionism, I found out that a part of my perfectionism was also a scarcity mindset of like, I will only have one chance to nail it. I won't get another chance, so I have to.
That's good.
And even now I have to remind myself there will be another opportunity.
Yeah.
I believe that God will bring it back to me if it's for me and when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And that loosened me up and gave me some space to like be okay to fail.
Absolutely. Failing is like you just getting data. I'm just getting the data because in business,
just information.
Yeah, you have to make data-driven decisions. So,
words. We absolutely have to do a part 2 because we didn't even talk about the family aspect, and I do want to hear about that. So we're just gonna definitely have you on.
Okay, cool.
Is there one thing, one message from just today? We've talked about a lot of great things that you want to kind of impart.
I didn't feel like I was on a podcast.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better. The first few episodes, I was a little nervous. Okay. I'm still nervous. Yeah. I'm still nervous because I want it to be worth people's time. Yeah. And there's also vulnerability. Like, I'm not just trying to ask you all your business, right? I have to also share. But this did feel.
I don't think people even know. Like, this is how we really talk. When we're talking, like we talk like this, and so this is what this felt like. We just happen to have mics in front of us. But go ahead. This.
What did you want to impart to listeners before you leave today?
I think the biggest thing I would say is, from this point on, you have to work on becoming the type of person that you desire to be. For me, I was at one point 460 pounds. All right, I'm about 360 now.
You've lost a lot of weight last year.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, I appreciate it. So I got about another 110 to go. But the thing about it is I decided at 460 that I was going to be a 250 pound man. And I actually listed out, what does he do? How does he respond? How does he act? And one of the things, I became vegan. I was like, drinks a gallon of water, does not eat fast food, does not eat candy. Or
I didn't think you were gonna like stick to it. Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like I usually bring snacks for guests based off what I think they like. And I definitely brought you some chickpea chips.
Some chickpea chips and some kettle corn.
And you're like, I love this brand.
Yes.
You really are that guy. And I was like, you're really serious about this.
I'm a 200, even though my weight still says 360, I'm a 250 pound man.
That's how you operate. And that's what's gotten you to the results.
Exactly. And so for entrepreneurs, if you say you want a 6-figure business, you have to make decisions like that. You can't make decisions from, if you're at your job making 50K, don't make 50K decisions. That's not what you said you wanted to be.
Yeah.
So in order for you to actually reap the reward of a 7-figure or 6-figure earner, you must actually embody that. When do they wake up? What do they do for their morning routine, afternoon, evening? Do they take notes? Do they work out? Whatever it is, you must embody that and make decisions from that person immediately, starting today. So it's like, from now on, I am him or I am her, right? Today, instead of waiting, like sometimes we wait until like, oh, when I get here, that's when I'm going to. It's like, no, do it now.
Do it now.
When I lose weight, that's when I'm gonna start walking every day. I was like, no, I'm gonna walk every day now, and now these legs could go about 3.5 miles. Okay.
I can't do that.
You know what I'm saying? Before I remember, and I'm about to wrap it up. I'm not going to give a long story, but I remember when I first went on a family walk, we walked like a half a block. My back was hurting. I'm like, babe, y'all keep going. I got to go back.
Wow.
And I was like, but the 250 pound man, he did the walk, wasn't far, but I did it. That's what I want. I want to be that 250 pound man that goes on walks with his family. And now to this day, we still do that.
Your daughter, I've been on the phone with you, and baby girl's like, it's time for our walk day. Let's go wrap it up. And I'm like, oop, gotta go.
You see what I'm saying? So that the biggest advice, not to chase the money, but actually become the person, and watch and see as you become and think and move from that person, you're going to attract everything that you want. You're going to evolve into more.
I love that.
That's the key thing.
Thank you for closing us out. If you guys are listening, definitely leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen.
This is 5-star worthy right
Thank you.
This was good.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe, but we will check you out next time.
This is share worthy. Okay.
Y'all heard it from here. Make sure you guys share it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll catch you next time. We'll definitely bring you for a part 2.
Let's get it.
Thank you, Words.